Brown Swanson, and thanks for joining us here on RPV City Talk. It is fabulous to have right here in our studio the great Mayor of Rancho Palos Verdes, Mayor Barbara Ferraro. You are Mayor for 2023, the year we turned 50, and it's great to have our first show together of the new year.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
Life is good, right?
It is.
I feel grateful. Since your first weeks of being mayor of our city, but not your first time being mayor, because you've been with our city for a while, serving our community, and we love that.
Yes.
How's the first weeks of mayor since you were sworn in December?
It has been busy. Muy ocupado, as we say in Espanol. It's been hectic but fun.
In case you don't know, she's a Spanish teacher at PV High School, so she has two hats, mayor and teacher. And so maybe every mayor show, every month, we can learn a few new words in Spanish.
Okay.
So how do you say city council in Espanol?
I don't know, but there's a word for mayor, and if it's a woman, la alcaldesa.
La alcaldesa.
Yes.
Yeah.
See.
Talk a little bit about your vision and your goals, what you hope to see here in the city.
Well, I think, it's really interesting looking at the city over a period of time, because basically the reason we were formed in the first place was to have control of our city so that we could control whether or not there were condos going up on the bluffs or not. And basically people here wanted a calmer, peaceful lifestyle, low density, open space, and that has been adopted by every council that's come along afterwards. And right now, of course, it's being threatened by the state. They're trying to take over control of the cities because sometimes the laws they pass, it's the old saying with one size does not fit all.
Exactly.
And we're still fighting for local control, but we've managed over the years to preserve almost 1,500 acres of open space and conservation. And so basically the values for the council over the years has been to keep that local control and open space, low density.
Exactly, and that's one thing this city council is certainly very proactive. We have a lobbyist now paying attention to what's going on more than ever in Sacramento federally, how we can work with our local lawmakers too, right? To make sure that they have Rancho Palos Verdes' interests and the community's interests at heart, right? So, and we have a great, on our website, you can always go on to see what's going on, right, in Sacramento.
The website is just a wealth of information.
Yes.
There's so much current and even historical information stored on the website that anytime they have a question or if they want to know where to call for graffiti or if there's an animal dead animal that needs to be picked up, everything is on the website.
Two issues, and certainly that have come up or that you've actually reached out to our lawmakers has to do with Portuguese Ben.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest issues in the city here 50 years plus later, right? Working on that landslide. And you have some exciting announcements regarding that, regarding some funding coming our way to work on that.
Yes, we are very fortunate that Dianne Feinstein, our senator, one of our two senators, sent her chief of staff down here to look at the property. And it's so important that they actually see and understand what's going on here. And she was able to insert a $2 million grant into the last bill that the president has already signed. And so that's going to give us at least $2 million to get started. It's a much bigger project. They've estimated that we need around $33 million. But this is supposed to help with the augers that are like slant drilling to take water out. Basically, you have to do two things. You have to try and get rid of the groundwater that's underneath, and that's for the slant augers. And then you have to take surface water off as well and get it out to the ocean. And so this is going to help get that project started. The problem is that we cannot just do nothing. The time has come. We have to start really doing something, addressing this problem. because if anybody has traveled over the Landslide area recently, the dips are getting deeper, more, and of course with the recent deluge that came down with this rain,
Right.
it has caused more movement, and something has to be done because it would cut off the connection between San Pedro and this side of the hill, between Redondo, between PV Estates, and
Right. So you mentioned we have the $2 million that we just received through Senator Feinstein, and then an additional 23+ million we're applying for through FEMA. Is it the Federal
Yes.
Emergency Management? Because
Yes.
it would be a severe emergency if that
Oh,
road
yeah.
collapses.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we see the bumpy road getting fixed, as we call it, every year. The city probably spends $500,000 at least,
more,
right,
more like $1 million.
each year just to
Yes.
keep that road stable.
Yes.
So we appreciate, and I'm sure every month we'll be talking about what's going on with Portuguese Bend and keeping the council, the staff, and the community busy and concerned.
We're looking to the state and we're looking to the county because, as you probably know, originally it was the county that was trying to put through Crenshaw Boulevard, and in detonating to move earth, they started the movement of
Right.
the landslide.
Which has made us now, put us on the map worldwide as having one of the world's most famous landslides,
Yes, and the most active in North America,
right?
which is scary to say that.
Yes, yes, especially where it's located. So we'll thank you, because I know each month when you're here giving us an update, we'll keep on it. And another exciting announcement that's happened in recent weeks is the fact that with Hatano Farm getting historic designation. Explain what's going on. This is very exciting.
Yes, we are excited about that because it's going to be listed as the James Hatano Farm, and it's a California point of historical interest. And it's really special because, well, when I first moved here, which is 40 some years ago, there was Annie's Stand down on PV Drive South, the best vegetables and the most beautiful flowers ever. And the James Hatano Farm is the last of the Japanese farms that were on the peninsula and in Rancho Palos Verdes. After World War II, that when the Japanese farmers were literally rounded up and taken away to the camps, and many of them came back. And this is where James Hatano found out about farming in this area. And so he wasn't here before the war, but he came after that and established his farm. And now it's the last one. And so we wanted something to preserve that history. So eventually there will be a plaque that designates some of the history, and it will be listed with the state's historical sites of interest.
Right. I know that the city applied to the State Historical Resources Commission.
Yeah.
I watched that meeting. It was a virtual meeting. Our deputy city manager was on making a comment, and other members of the community saying how important and excited we are to be able to honor the Japanese heritage here that's so rich, and that farm, and also the fact that it's a city-owned property, being able to put it to future use. I don't know if you want to comment on that right now, some of the ideas and what happens with that farm going forward, because after leasing that property for years, the city was no longer allowed to do that because of the designation of that property for its purposes, right?
We're not quite sure what we're going to do with it yet, but we are talking with the Land Conservancy about the possibility that they may manage it.
Right.
Because they manage some of our conservation areas.
So stay tuned, because I think coming up the city will have a plaque ceremony at that farm site, and just an incredible place to hike around there. It's so beautiful. You get a view of Terranea and the coastline and take it all in. So this is RPV making history as always, right?
Yes. And of course we have the most beautiful views, I think, in the world, especially weeks like this where it's after the rain and everything is clear.
Yes.
And so the Hatano Farm will be a lovely place for people to hike, and we're just so happy that the state was willing to recognize it.
Yes, well, it deserved the recognition, and the next time I think I'll probably be with you, you'll be having a ribbon cutting with that plaque ceremony at the farm.
We'll see.
Yes, all right, well, keep us posted on that. Planning Commission and City Committee reports. The council gets reports. So when your last meeting in January, you had all the representatives from the various committees in the city and then the Planning Commission give their update and all they're doing, because they're volunteers. So it's good, they help give direction, you give them direction. Talk about sort of takeaways you might want to share for anybody that tuned into that meeting about sort of what was said and the importance of this work they do.
Well, we are very lucky in our city that we have so many people that are willing to help out. And so we have a planning commission, and then the others are considered committees. And so twice a year we have reports from either the chair or the vice chair. We're just so fortunate that we have so skilled, talented, intelligent, concerned citizens that are willing to be part of these. And we are having recruiting right now for one spot on the Planning Commission. Traffic safety, I think the incumbents may be volunteering again, but people can still apply for other committees and commissions.
And every month, you as mayor, you meet with the chairs of all these committees and the commission so that you really are at the pulse of what they're working on, and you have that great open communication.
That's called the Mayor's Breakfast.
Yes.
And we get together, and it's not a long-winded affair because people have things to do and places to go.
Yes.
But I think it's important for us to, not only for me to meet with them, but for them to hear what each other and their committees are doing. So
Yes.
it's a good group.
During the mayor's show, we always talk about issues that come before the council that you voted on at that January 17th meeting. Public safety was in the center. It's always the #1 goal and priority of the city, having to do with wildfire prevention and protection. So a few things came up. The city is going to temporarily be getting a helipod.
Yes.
So explain what that's all about.
Okay, not to be confused with a helipad. A helipod is a giant container weighing 4,600 pounds. That's 2.3 tons.
Yes.
But it holds water that the helicopter can hover over.
Yes.
And it holds enough water.
I think 4,800 gallons. I read
Yes.
in one of your.
And right now it's near a hydrant that can furnish that much water. I hope we don't need it, but I think it's a wonderful thing to have if we do. And they're also looking at, can it be incorporated into the design of the new Civic Center?
Right.
Because it will be located on the City Hall property, the
Right.
Kendida.
I know LA County fire officials are obviously encouraged to be able to have this because, like you said, right now at the Kendida Civic Center grounds, we've got the helipad, which is where the LA County firefighting operation will come in, and that hydrant's there, and they can hook up and get water. But having that extra capacity, right, is really going to be huge going forward. So, so we look forward to any extra resources. Yay! We especially as we continually are designated as a very high fire hazard severity zone. I know that's a whole nother story, but the peninsula right now is a high fire danger risk, right? So we need these extra resources.
And one thing we might mention too are the cameras that we hope to get installed soon. The AI
Pano
AI.
Yes.
I call him Pano-Owl. Because when I looked at that first, it would look like, what is Pano-Owl? I thought maybe it was a stuffed animal like a panda, But it's artificial intelligence. And these cameras actually will basically pick up any fire as soon as it starts on the entire peninsula.
Yes.
So it will help not only RPV, but also the other 3 cities in the unincorporated county.
The fact that it's also a peninsula-wide endorsed program that we're all sort of pooling, there was grant money brought in from the state, right? So, and those cameras will be helpful because in a split second, if a fire is ignited, supposedly these cameras have that kind of technology.
Yeah, any wisp of smoke.
Right? So that will be huge for the preserve, and we look forward to seeing those cameras getting installed.
Yeah, they're not here yet, but soon.
Right. And mentioning that how all the peninsula cities work on the issue of public safety, like fire, Another issue that came up at the council was your decision to go forward with a memorandum of understanding with all the peninsula cities to bring in a web-based
Zone Haven.
called Zone Haven, right? Tell a little,
Yes.
just give us a little update. I know it's all in the works, but whatever you can share, what that means.
The cities are cooperating.
Yes, I like that.
In this Zone Haven. It is actually an app that we decided to use for at least certainly for the time being, because as we know, emergencies occur, and to make any event less catastrophic, we need to know what to do and where to go.
Yes.
And so information would be available according to the zone in which you live. And
For
there are-
evacuations.
yes, there are zone maps for you to know, and also plans. It could be that we need to go through another city, like for example, Rolling Hills is enclosed with gates, but it might be necessary for them to come through the gate our way or for us to go that way. So it's just a method of disseminating information quickly to help people in case of an emergency or evacuations.
Yes, I know the community, you got some feedback during council meeting, how important it is that we work together so everyone, just like you know to call 911, know exactly, it becomes intuitive. What do we do in an emergency? Like I was saying, I live on PV Drive South. How do I evacuate?
Yeah.
So these will help with that information and getting it out there. Other issues at the 17th, you had a busy meeting at the 17th. You approved a community development block grant program.
Yes.
Just share what that means. I think you gave out about $150,000 worth of grant funds for curb enhancements.
Yes, CDBG, that sort of rolls off the tongue, but you know, for the longest time I didn't know what that meant. Community development block grants. And generally speaking, they're supposed to help people who have lower incomes that or special needs. And this project qualifies as a community development block grant because we are putting in curb cuts on the corners according to the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act requirements. And we're doing that to help anyone that has limited mobility. And mostly that is senior citizens, but not entirely. And it's going to be done near some of the schools and also near medical facilities.
Yes, I was looking at the staff report, and I think there's like hundreds of places in the city that we could be doing these curb enhancements.
Yeah.
So it's good that we're on it and that money's getting put to that use.
Yeah, because you know, maybe we don't have as big a need in that area for some things, but we're able to use that grant money in this way, and it really is helpful. And I never fully appreciated the need for things like this until I acquired more, well, you don't acquire limited. My mobility became more limited, and I appreciate it so much now. Just, you know, it's only basically one step, but if all of your joints hurt,
Right,
being able to go down the ramp makes it so much easier.
right. So we're glad that our city's doing our part.
Yeah,
And
and that we're able to get the grants for it.
yes, and to also probably be, meet the standards that we have today that
Yeah.
we want to be able to accommodate. We're going to move on to talk about some exciting news also concerning the fact that the 96 acres that the city was able to acquire for more open space in the city last year, this year, there's going to be a naming now of in the lower Philly-Orem area of two of the reserves after two families generously donating so that land acquisition was able to happen. Tell us about, we'll give a quick shout out and thank you to the Lay family and the Glass family.
Yes.
So,
Jacqueline Glass, better known as Jackie, provided $1 million donation for the acquisition of this 96 acres. And the 96 acres joins the upper and lower Philly-Orem and created a space for a wildlife corridor. So that's one reason that this is so important. And the other family, Dorothy and Alan Lay,
yes.
And both of these families do not live in Rancho Palos Verdes. However, because we are all one community, they were kind enough and generous to provide some of the funding for this. And we are going to have plaques. The one for Jackie Glass and her family will be on PV Drive South.
Right.
And the one for the Lay family will be in Upper Philiorum that can be accessed through Del Cerro. And I don't know how, we can't thank them enough.
Yes.
They really are wonderful people. They have been generous so much in the community already. The Lays have been active in the symphony. Jackie Glass has been active with the Ed Foundation and many other charities in the local community.
Yes, the community definitely came together for this. It was called a Go Wild for the Peninsula campaign.
Yeah.
That was established through the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy. So that coordination with the city, the Land Conservancy, the community, it just shows how it does take a village. And for those that are listening, when we said Lower Philiorum, it's basically right across from Abalone Cove.
Yes.
Off PV Drive South, you'll look up and you see that, the Catalina View Gardens, and then there's that beautiful open space that will be there in perpetuity now for preservation for wildlife and all of that. So that's very exciting.
We're hoping
More ribbon cuttings.
I don't know if we're going to cut a ribbon for the plaques, but certainly we'll have some kind of ceremony when those are done.
Yes. We're starting to run out of time, but there's a few more topics I'd love to touch base with you. Ladera Linda, the biggest ongoing public works project currently in the city.
Yes.
It's moving along. I don't know if
Yes.
you want to give any quick update on this project. It's on time, I think, and on budget and all that stuff.
Basically, it's on
Or a
time.
little-
There was a little delay because of all the rains.
Yes.
But they're fixing that now, and then we'll get back to the schedule. But I think one of the things the public should know is go on the city website and click on the camera and watch.
Right.
You have to do it during the day because you can click on it at night, but you can't see anything.
Yes, the construction is on, I did say on time, but like you said, there were delays, but it's going along as a city. It's really exciting.
And it should be finished sometime this summer, we hope, or at the latest the fall.
Yes, and if anyone has any issues too with the neighborhood, I know the city has worked hard and the staff to make sure they're hearing any concerns going on. I know they just recently had a 16-foot light that went up in the parking lot, right, with a light just to show what that would look like. So they're working with the community. There is a hotline, I guess, if you want to check in and let the city know anything going on. It's the Ladera Linda hotline at rpv.gov, rpvca.gov, because we are all about communicating.
And the city tries to be quite quickly responsive to any needs that the community has.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to start to wrap it up, but I think it's incredible that you served as mayor when our city turned 25 years ago, and now here you are for the 50th. And I was curious, for you, if you look back and reflect then to now, if anything you could share. 25 years to 50 years here at 50th.
Well, as I told you, I'm 25 years older.
I'm going to say you're 25 years better. How about we go like that? It's so fun. You're 25 years better, Mayor Ferraro.
It's just flown by. But, it was such a special year then. We had a big gala at the Los Verdes Country Club. And we honored John McTaggart, who was another founding member of the city. He was on the first planning commission, and he served on the council for many, many years, and as mayor for 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
And this year is our 50th. And when I was on the council the first time, I worked on Terranea. I worked on trying to iron out things for 5 years. It took 6 more years before it actually came to pass and we had the grand opening. And so now I can't imagine RPV without it.
Yes, they're so important to our community at every level.
Yes, they host so many events there, and it's a great place to go and eat. We have every other mayor's breakfast there. It's just been a very big asset. And people were so worried about so many things, traffic, but we found that we don't have a big problem there with that. And it's such a nice venue so that we can stay on the peninsula
Yes.
instead of having to go off the peninsula.
And then there's the tens of millions of dollars in transient occupancy tax that have gone into our coffers that help support public
Not to
safety.
mention that.
That's a big deal. We're thankful for that. And that's, I believe, where the 50th anniversary gala party will be.
Yes.
September 7th is the official 50th birthday of our city. So,
Yes.
and as you know, we've been telling the community, every month the city's doing a lot of fun things to celebrate the countdown to the
Yes.
50th. And you've been participating in every one.
I certainly try.
Yes, yes, you are. And you get to be the leader, the queen of partying in RPV for the 50th. Any final mayor's announcements? We wrap it up. We were talking about you at a cool ribbon cutting for a new restaurant.
Business, yes.
Yes, do you want to mention that?
The IHOP was, I think, sold, and Pancakes Are Us. Pancakes Are Us.
On Western Avenue.
On Western Avenue. We had a grand opening there last Saturday. I had breakfast there. The food is delicious, and it's a family-owned business, and they have 3 other restaurants. Pancakes Are Us, further down the coast, and I just hope people will go there and try it out because it's a very nice setting. They did a lot of redecorating and.
Good. Well, that's we always like to see new businesses opening up in our
Yeah.
city, and I know I missed the old Pancake House. My kids, that was one of our go-tos in the morning. when
It was packed on Saturday
Yes, well, good.
for the
thanks.
opening, and they had Mickey Mouse was there,
Okay.
and I had my picture made with Mickey Mouse.
How about a Mickey Mouse pancake? You
I don't know, but their pancakes are so good.
Good.
And they had put an ad in the PV News that everyone got a little free gift of a short stack of pancakes
Yes.
that day. And so I can certainly recommend it.
well, we wish them sweet success.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
All right, Mayor Ferraro, it's so fun to have you here for our
Thank
first
you.
show of the year, and you'll be back each month with an update
will.
for the city. And
Yeah.
I know you got to get back to school, so
Yeah.
wish you the best always.
Thank
That'll
you.
do it for this edition of RPV City Talk. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.